Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Grace. If this is the first time you are seeing my beautiful face, don't make it your last. Please consider subscribing and sticking around. I post content related to social media management, content creation, lifestyle, skincare, and a lot more that you're going to find educative and entertaining. So consider subscribing. So in today's video, we'll be talking about what to include in your contract. So get your paper, get your jotter, get your pen, and get ready to jot things down because I have a lot, like I've written down a lot that I'm going to share with you, and I'm sure you're going to find it helpful. So let's dive right into the video. So what is a contract? A contract is basically an agreement between two or more people. As a social media manager, especially as a freelancer, you need a contract. You may ask, why do I even need a contract? Why can't I just start working? And please don't try it. Don't even try working with a client without a contract. Like, it's you don't want to find out what will happen, but I'm going to tell you why a contract is very important. Number one, it helps you be on the same page with your client, so your client knows that, okay, this is what I'm supposed to expect from you, and you know this is what you're supposed to expect from your client. So it just helps you to be on the same page. Number two, it sets boundaries. So there's this boundary that some people don't really maintain between client and the consultant, that is you, and that is because there's no contract. But the contract helps you know this is your boundaries. Like, hey client, this is your boundary, and this is my boundary between me and my client. Thirdly, it protects you from conflict. It protects both you and your client from conflict. So a conflict arises that you may even want to go to court. Is this contract that is going to really help you? For example, if you're having a conflict with your client and your client says you're supposed to do something and you are not supposed to do that thing, probably you talked about it during your initial conversation, but you didn't have a contract. If you take the matter to court, how are they supposed to know that your client actually agreed that you shouldn't do this or you should do that? The contract will just help you and save you from a lot of stress. So that being said, now let's talk about what to include in your contract. The first thing you want to do is to start off by introducing your client and yourself in the contract. So it's more like an introductory phase where, for example, let me give an instance. You are working with Chidinma Davis of David's Foods. So you're going to manage David's Foods social media platforms, and you asked me to use my name as an example. I'm Grace Joshua, and what the introduction is supposed to introduce is like, oh, this is a contract between Chidinma Davis of David's Food, which will be addressed as the client, and Grace Joshua, which is the social media manager, will be addressed as the consultant. So that way, instead of you to keep repeating Chidinma Davis or David's Food or Grace Joshua, you just know that, okay, the consultant is the social media manager, so the client is the one that you're rendering your social media management service to. Number two, you need to add your scope of work. The scope of work is everything, the description of everything you're supposed to do down to the last detail. Make sure you mention everything. Be certain that this is exactly the services that you're going to be rendering to this client. How many posts you'll be posting per week, how many videos, how many content, how many carousel, how many content calendars, how many, like everything you're supposed to do. If you're supposed to run ads, if you're supposed to do videos, like everything you are supposed to do, that scope of work. What are your job description for that job? List them in this section, right? Number three is your client's responsibility. What is your client supposed to do for you? Are they supposed to provide some information, provide some materials? If they do, what is going to happen? There are some clients that you work with and they are not responsive and you need information from them. You have to have the client's responsibility. Okay, once we start working together, you have to provide pictures, you have to provide this, you have to provide so thing for me to work efficiently. All these things they have to provide has a timeline or a deadline, so you have to list everything under the client's responsibility, because the client also has a responsibility. If not, the both of you will not be able to work very well. So number four, the next thing you want to list is the payment terms and details. You want to write down what your payment is. Is it a monthly payment? Is it a weekly payment? When is it going to be due? Like, some people say, I want my payment to be due by 29th of the end of the month. That's 29th of the month. Some people say, I want it to be 1st of the month. Some people say, I want it to be 30th of the month. Whatever the case may be, put it down there. So under this section, you have to let your client know that okay, no late payment. Payments cannot be later than 2 days, or payments cannot be later than 48 hours, or payments cannot be later than 3 days. If the payment is later than 3 days, you add interest or something like that. Just make it very specific, because most times you work with clients and then they don't pay when it's due. You can also say, okay, if you don't pay when it's due, every work will be stopped. You have to make payments before work continues. If you're working with a client on a running basis, like you're working month after month, you say, okay, if you don't pay me on 29th of the month and you don't pay me 3 days after, there's a problem. You can also state that okay, if the payment is going to be late, give me notice, like maybe 3 days notice or 4 days notice that oh, the payment is going to be late and this is why. You have to state all this in your contract so that you won't have any problem in future, to avoid any problem. Because I've worked with people that I didn't have a contract with them and we agreed that they're supposed to pay end of the month, and end of the month they've not paid, first week of the month they've not paid, second week of the month they've not paid. We are dragging back and forth and I can't even do anything about it because we don't have a contract. So what am I going to use to hold them accountable? So a contract helps you and also helps your client to be held accountable. Okay, under this section, you also want to let your client know that anything that is outside my scope of work, anything that's outside my job description, you have to pay additional fee. So for example, if you agree that okay, you're going to be creating 10 content per week or 20 content in total per month, and the client is asking you to do something extra, you can decide that if you give me anything that's outside the scope of work, you pay additional charges. That is it. You also have to let your client know that if they're going to be providing you internet data, they're going to be giving you money to pay for your Canva subscription, list everything down under this payment so that they will know that this is what they are supposed to do. If they're supposed to be giving you any form of allowance, or if they're supposed to give you any form of incentives for any little work that you do, maybe you brought a particular number of sales or you refer or something, like just list everything under payment terms and details section. Number 5 is the working hours and days. Many people omit this from the contract and I wonder why. Like, why would you do that? You don't want to be working around the clock. You don't want to be burnt out. I worked with this client that was calling me by 12 a.m. in the morning. I didn't answer because I'm like, why are you calling me by 12 a.m. in the morning? It doesn't make any sense. You have to put it straight that okay, I'll be working from Mondays to Saturdays or from Mondays to Friday from 9 a.m. Like for me, I work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Anything other than that, I won't answer the clients. And that's just it, because in the past I used to be readily available anytime, any day. Client is calling by 7 p.m. The client is calling by maybe 4 p.m. and I'm out with my friends on a Sunday. Why are you calling me to work? So you have to be specific that okay, these are my working hours, these are the working days. I won't work on Saturday. I would advise for your working hours, at least the fact that you're working remotely doesn't mean you should work around the clock. At least take a day off. You can decide that every Sunday I won't work, so my Sundays is my no work day, and that Sundays you don't have to communicate. You tell your client that no communication that Sunday. Anything that has to do with work has to wait till the next working day, which is Monday. So they won't know about this your terms if you don't state it in your contract. So it's important to state it in your contract, your working hours and your working days. Very important. Number 6 is the mode of communication. How are you and your clients going to communicate? Is it through email? Is it through WhatsApp? Is it through Telegram? Just make sure that okay, this is how we are going to be communicating. If it has to do with content approval, we'll communicate via Google Doc or Google Sheet. If it's just inquiries and stuff, we can communicate on WhatsApp. Like, make it specific. These are our communication channels. Some clients will be calling you on video call, be calling you on WhatsApp call, and maybe you're not in the place to pick that call at the time. So just tell them to always just make it straight out. Leave me a message. Just make sure that you guys are on the same page, okay? Number 7, the start and end date. So if you're going to be on a contract basis or you're working with this client for a duration of 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 7 months, this is optional. Some clients don't really have start and end date. They just want to test you and see if you're good and see if they can work with you on the long haul. But normally you want to add the start and end date if it's a contract gig. So you say okay, I'm working from January 1st to March 5th. Just make sure the start and end date is stated in the contract if you have a start and end date. Number 8 is the termination process. How will the process be like? In this section, you want to let your client know that if any of us want to terminate this contract, we have to give 2 weeks notice or 1 month notice or 3 weeks notice. So it's very important so that your clients will not just wake up one day and say they're not doing again and they won't pay you your money. So you have to say, okay, you have to give 2 weeks notice, and obviously with pay, or 1 week notice or 1 month notice, whichever the case may be. And this also helps your client too, so that in case you don't want to work with them anymore, you don't just wake up one day and say you're not working with them anymore. What do you want them to do? It makes them really destabilized. So I'll actually advise 2 weeks notice. So when you give 2 weeks notice, they are notified that, oh, you will not be working with them anymore, and they can now start looking for someone else, so that you can also help in handing over seamlessly. Always give notice before you terminate the contract. Okay, number 8 is intellectual property rights. So if you create content, who owns the content? Especially if the content that has to do with, maybe you made a video for the brand, you want to make sure that, okay, you can decide that I own this content, it's my face, I'm just using it for the brand, so I can actually use it for my own personal use. Or you can decide that this content that I'm making is strictly for you, I'm not going to use it for my personal gain, but I'm going to be using it for my portfolio, stuff like that. You want to be on the same, because some clients work with people and they want to keep everything on a low, like very private, so they don't want people to know that this is who they are working with and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you spell this out there. I might be using your content as a portfolio, but I won't be using it to monetize or something like that. Just make sure it's clear there. Then if your client is okay with it, they can go ahead and sign. If they are not, then they can always rearrange that. Then after you've written all these sections and details, you want to end it with your name, your signature and the date, and send it to your client via email. Don't send it on WhatsApp, send it via email for them to write their name, their signature, and the date. What I normally advise is that you let your client know that once they sign that contract, that is when the contract starts. Like once they put the date and they sign the contract, that is when the role starts. So in order not to have any confusion, let them know that once you sign this contract, the time is already reading, like our work has started. So everything I need you to provide, you start immediately with the onboarding process. And you know that if there's any delay, it shouldn't be from your end, it should be from the client's end, in order to avoid any story. Also let your client know that you have written this contract and they should read it carefully before signing, because some clients will not even read, they will just go ahead and sign. Tell them to always read it carefully and sign. Make sure that when they sign, they send back a copy to you. Don't just start work and say, okay, you sent it to them, they have agreed. When they agree, they should write their name, they should have their signature, and they should date it and send it back to you via email. Don't send it on WhatsApp, don't send it on Telegram. Email will keep it very safe for you. You can always refer back to it even after a year, even after 2 years or 3 years. So your email is the best bet for you. Then you can also get someone to co-sign it, maybe a witness, could be a lawyer, it could be a lawyer or somebody that could just be as a witness to sign the contract for you, that okay, I'm a witness to this agreement between this party and that party. It will also help you in case there's a conflict and it gets to a point where you guys have to go to court. In a case where the client will give you their own contract, let's say you give them your contract and them too, they have their own contract, maybe a NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Read it carefully, understand each term. If you don't understand it, meet your lawyer. If your lawyer is not really sure about what the client is saying, reach out to your client and tell them to explain a particular section in a clause so that you can understand everything before you sign. Anything you're not comfortable with, always reach out to your client so that they can renegotiate or redraft it, and make sure that you both are on the same page before you start working. In all you do, please do not start working with a client without a contract, without an agreement, and it has to be signed, most importantly. So always make sure you have your contract ready. You can do this simply by using Microsoft Word, Google Doc, or Canva, any platform of your choice. Just make sure that you all have this section and you're good to go. Hope you find this video very helpful. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up so that I can reach other people. If you have questions relating to contract, please leave them in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer them. Please also remember to subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.